I have found in my practice that people come to see me when they're especially distressed or when they're feeling like things are just so wrong that they need help from a clinician. In the past, the way I have been taught and the way most clinicians have been taught to deal with this is to find out what in the past has led them to where they're feeling now, and then to diagnose them, and then to give them, after the diagnosis, a treatment fit for that diagnosis. Usually in conventional psychiatry, that has included medicine. Over time, what I've realized is that medicine actually perpetuates, if not causes, the symptoms that it's marketed to treat. And the diagnosis also perpetuates the symptoms that meet the criteria to meet that diagnosis. I do mental health coaching. Mental health coaching is about living in the now. It's about creating for the future from the multiplicity of possibilities of being that otherwise weren't thought to be there when you're caught up in the past. By no longer focusing on the past, by no longer focusing on diagnoses, and certainly by no longer focusing on pharmacology as a way of dealing with this, all sorts of new realms of possibilities emerge. Who I'm most interested in helping, who shows up in my office, are people who either A, are not interested in going into conventional psychiatry to deal with their mental distress because they've heard terrible things or they don't expect any kind of positive results. Maybe even the stigma of having psychiatric illness scares them away. The other group that's really interesting for me moving forward are the people who have been in psychiatry often for decades, carrying on with their diagnosis and their treatment, and they're just sick and tired of getting worse. These people are looking for a new way of being, as their caretakers are, to bring forth the possibility of a new level of freedom and power from what they have so far been calling their own mental illness. The people who come to me include the patients or clients, the people who take care of them, their families, their friends, even other clinicians and even psychiatrists, looking for new ways of looking at this condition called mental illness, such that empowerment and freedom becomes a real possibility. When people come to see me, they can expect to be listened to be heard, to be dealt with, and in fact to be connected in ways that they are not used to with other clinicians. A new conversation gets created in my office. In that conversation, mental illness as a possibility begins to actually disappear, and a new sense of empowerment, a new sense of freedom, a new sense of not feeling defective and not being ill starts to emerge. A person who comes to my office will experience a new sense of relief that very day. Unfortunately, psychiatry as a discipline has been altered, has transformed over time into a discipline that's dependent on medications and dependent on easy diagnoses and short meetings on a monthly basis to treat someone who has been declared defective. Listening is no longer a skill that's even trained in most residencies. Therefore, what you get in my office is a new sense of being heard, being communicated with, being gotten, being listened to. And that process in and of itself has an extraordinary amount of healing associated with it. Over the last several years, the listening psychiatrist is actually a dying breed. As we move forward in the world, psychiatry is being utilized to simply diagnose and treat patients with medications. In my office, there'll be a whole new sense of being heard, of being listened to, of communication. And all healing is a function of direct and honest communication between one person and another. Well, if this is actually an interesting or a resonating conversation with you, if you find yourself getting a little bit excited about what might be possible for you or your loved one, I invite you to give me a call or to write me on to my website so that I can contact you. A 20-minute session with me is actually free consultation. As a result of our 20-minute consultation, assuming we have a good match, several packages are available. A 3 sessions package often does the trick. Sometimes people want more, and we can arrange 5 or 8 session packages as well. Either case, what if a new sense of self-expression, creativity, power, and freedom was readily available to you? That's what I'm after.